Look at that, it's time. Hi, cat. Okay. If you want to climb on my lap, you can. If you have a cat, you understand. Want to say hi? Three, two, one. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Tasty. Well, it was a good Monday. Productive Monday, got a lot done. Just really plowed through a lot of stuff. Had an appointment at the dentist, and things are going well. So we're moving forward on this pile of other stuff going on. You just heard the hydroponic system finish its cycle. And we have our fourth night of frost in a row. Hooray! However, I've got some things planted on the edges of my property that have not frosted, so fingers crossed that they stay okay in those microclimates. And after today, as soon as it warms up, we've got over a week, at least, of much nicer weather. So I'm happy about that. In fact, Saturday says it's going to be, weather says 79. So I might try to get out of here, take off for the weekend. Problem is, I don't know where I would go, but the weather looks good to do that. So I might have to do some last minute planning. What else happened yesterday? There wasn't a lot. There wasn't a lot to talk about from yesterday. Although it was funny, just the way everything went. Frank says, yes, Jeremy is here. We ask that the audience please hold their applause to the end of the show. Can you imagine how crazy this show would be with a live audience? Somebody would have to drive me to the venue, and I'd be like, and I'd walk out, and somebody would hand me a cup of coffee, and then I'd sit down, and I'd be like, hi, can't believe you guys came. That would be so strange. But hey, who knows what the future holds? Weirder things have happened. This is 2020 after all. So I had a phone call yesterday that goes from somewhere between 3 and 3:30, which means that I couldn't have it here and then drive to my 4 o'clock dentist appointment. So I conducted the dentist appointment, or the meeting, from my car, and had almost an hour to walk around in the parking lot. Well, fortunately, it was a really nice day. It was sunny. I was outside, and it was just great. It was great to be there. And when did I leave the house yesterday? 10? Got back at like 5:45, so I was gone for the day. It's interesting. Here we are. I have no formal office, or I'm not renting anything. There's nothing like that going on right now, and I have quite a few days where I'm gone for the day. And really, I've got to thank Panera for their $8.99 unlimited coffee thing, because now I don't feel like a freeloader when I sit there for hours. I can go in, get a cup of coffee, and hang out for a while. And I do prefer supporting more local businesses. Frank asks, what do you call a dentist in the Army? I'm going to guess major pain. We'll see if I'm right. I do prefer supporting more local coffee shops, but most of them aren't available to sit down. Oh, that's even better. A drill sergeant. I like it. So I bounce between, there are 3 Paneras in my area. And hang out at various ones. Because there's plenty of parking. Their bathrooms, they're generally clean. Actually, they're always clean, these three. Plenty of tables, tasty food, essentially free coffee. What more can I want? So, in fact, I'm probably going to end up at one today. Got a podcast episode happening at 9:30, and then I might get out of here. We'll see. We'll see what the gap of time is between when the show's over. About 7, and 9:30. Bunch of things I got to do. Yeah. What else is happening today? Anything? I'm gonna go to the gym. I would have gone to the gym yesterday. In fact, I wanted to, but there was anesthetic involved, and it's an emotionally intense experience for me to go to the dentist. And I like to pretend it's not, but it is. So once we got through that, I was like, I'm just gonna go home and eat tacos, which is what I did. Oh, Frank says, sometimes I wish I could give my whistlekick family, Jeremy, Stacy, and Gabe, a big hug. Well, I can't speak for Stacy and Gabe, but Frank, I would gladly welcome a hug from you, my friend. Yes, Stacy, they are. They are good people there. Stacy knows the dentist that I'm going to. Technically, yesterday was an endodontist. Talk about specialization. I grew up, there were people who fix teeth, dentists, and people who clean teeth, hygienists. But apparently, there are an insane level of specializations within oral care that I had no idea. So, yeah. Anything else going on today to report? I don't think so. I don't think so. Should we go to questions? I think we should go to questions. Let's do it. Are you helping, Kat? I don't feel like you're helping. Not that one. Here we go. All right, let's start with, today we got stuff from Frank and Gabe. Oh, God, I hesitate to say this because I hope I don't jinx myself, but no noises in the attic. I found some things that were going on Friday and covered some holes, and I haven't heard anything, so hopefully we're good for the winter. Yesterday, Monday, September 21st, 2020, was International Peace Day. To celebrate, we'll look at 4 quotes from the author of The Art of Peace and founder of Aikido, Morihei Ueshiba. The way of the warrior has been misunderstood. It is not a means to kill and destroy others. Those who seek to compete and better one another are making a terrible mistake. To smash, injure, or destroy is the worst thing a human being can do. The real way of a warrior is to prevent such slaughter. It is the art of peace, the power of love. Morihei Ueshiba, aka O-Sensei. I agree 80%. I see nothing wrong with competition so long as your motivation is good. I don't want to say pure, but it's kind of essentially where I'm going with that. There's nothing wrong with competition. If you go to competition to better yourself to participate in something that has become an aspect of martial arts, a pretty solid component of our culture, I think that's just fine. If you go to competition to, here's a great example. There are people who go to point scoring tournaments knowing that the rules are a certain way, fully planning to have excessive contact because they don't want to hit the people in their own school that hard. That would be an example of being wrong. And the way of the warrior, that statement, that phrase, reminds me of The Way of the Peaceful Warrior, which is a book I have read multiple times by Dan Millman. And Stacy says, I like smashing things, but it's about all of us rooting for each other to do their best. Yes. I like competing. I like winning, but I like winning when I am genuinely better. I don't like winning when I'm not better. When there's, some unlucky thing that happens or favoritism or something like that. I'm not okay with that. What else do I want to say on this? Oh, Way of the Peaceful Warrior. So when I think about that book and the definition of warrior that comes out of that, to be a warrior is about battling yourself, your own inner demons, your faults, your flaws, and becoming a better person. It's something that is something we all do, whether we realize it or not. But it goes better when you realize you're doing it. I think that's the summary I'd take from that book. That book changed my life. I would say that book was the beginning of a massive shift in who I am. The art of peace is medicine for a sick world. There is evil and disorder in the world because people have forgotten that all things emanate from one source. Return to that source and leave behind all self-centered thoughts, petty desires, and anger. Those who are possessed by nothing possess everything. Sounds very Buddhist. Now, I don't know Ueshiba's religious affiliations, but much of what he's talking about here reminds me of my very rudimentary understanding of Buddhism and peace and detachment, etc. And as I get older, I can appreciate that perspective on the world, this idea that we cloud our existence with stuff and with a lot of selfish desires. Doesn't mean that stuff is inherently bad or that goals are inherently bad, but the way we relate to them can be. When you want something so bad that you're stealing it, or you're willing to violate your own principles to progress in some way or attain a goal. That's where it starts to break down. Next. Aikido is not an art to fight with enemies and defeat them. It is a way to lead all human beings to live in harmony with each other as though everyone were one family. The secret of Aikido is to make yourself become one with the universe and to go along with its natural movements. One who has attained the secret holds the universe in him or herself and can say, I am the universe. It is a way to lead all human beings to live in harmony with each other as though everyone were one family. I think a lot of martial arts get that right. And I think a lot of martial arts schools have a culture like that, and that's awesome. I love seeing that. I love the, how do I want to say this? I love the way martial arts kind of spreads its fingers out into other aspects of the world. For example, when I think of martial arts schools in the small towns that I've lived in, everybody knows about that school and the people. And quite often, the school is wrapped up in town happenings. And when something, let's say something goes wrong, a family's home burns down, that school is coming together to raise funds for those people, even if they aren't students of the school. You have this culture and leadership often in a martial arts school that lines up a lot with what these quotes are talking about, being a warrior for peace and for supporting those around you. And I think that's great. I love seeing that. Martial arts makes better people. Martial arts makes people better? I think either way. I think you can say it either way. One more quote. And then we'll go on to Gabe's question. In the art of peace, we never attack. An attack is proof that one is out of control. Never run away from any challenge, but do not try to suppress or control an opponent unnaturally. Let attackers come any way they like, and then blend with them. Never chase after opponents. Redirect each attack and get firmly behind it. Well, there's the physical aspect of it. I have cat hair going on here. Good morning. There's the physical aspect of what this quote's talking about, and then, of course, there's the philosophical aspect. The idea of not chasing people, not letting them come as they will, and redirecting their attack and getting behind them. I mean, from a self-defense perspective, that's a pretty solid philosophy. Technique comes in, you take it off path, you get offline as well, you move to the back. I mean, that's when I work self-defense, that is my methodology. And when people work with me, sometimes they get bored because I do this very similar things over and over again. It doesn't really matter what techniques you come in with. That's where I'm looking to go. Just to the back. Now let's talk about it conceptually, philosophically. You're dealing with a problem. Someone is yelling at you. They're being rude. They're being disrespectful. They're being unfairly authoritative. Do you meet force with force? Can. Does that work out well? Not usually. Imagine social confrontation. In a lot of cases, you're looking for ways that both of you can have an out, so one person doesn't feel slighted moving forward, especially if it's something professional. Let that attack come in and find a way to redirect it. It comes from empathy. It comes from understanding. It comes from creativity and confidence. There are a lot of things that have to be in place in order to make that happen. And, those things have to happen physically as well in an altercation. You have to be confident in your skills. You have to be creative in your response to the attack. You have to look for opportunities. You have to look for motivations and respond accordingly. someone trying to stab you with a knife requires a different response than a drunk friend trying to poke you in the chest. I think sometimes we forget that degree of response is relevant. The self-defense community online has become very wrapped up in its own echo chamber, such that there almost seemingly isn't too much force for many people. Someone steps in and it's instantly acceptable for you to kill them. I see posts like this. It's crazy. Use as little force as is necessary. Good stuff. I hope as you go through your day, I'll get to Gabe's quote here in just a moment. As you go through your day, I hope you'll consider what this stuff means to you, what peace and an expression of peace looks like for you, and what your martial arts techniques and the way that you practice them say about peace and living kindly with others. And now for something in a completely different direction, which is great. This is why I love having multiple people respond with comments. And remember, if you have comments that you want to make, or questions, or quotes, or whatever, once the episode closes, just drop them below, and that's where we take them from. In your opinion, what are the pros and cons of energy drinks? Okay, well, the pros are pretty easy. They're tasty. They give you energy. Many of them are low calorie or 0 calorie because they use artificial sweeteners. And for me, they work better than straight caffeine if I have a headache. Now, I don't know if they quite count as migraines. They're a different kind of headache. From what others who have migraines describe, these are like baby migraines. They don't respond the same way to, straight anti-inflammatories. So there are times where I will feel a headache coming on. Usually it's rooted in either dehydration or tension in my neck from working out. And I can have a couple ibuprofen and an energy drink, and quite often before I'm done with the can, the headache is gone. It's really weird. So those are the pros. What are the cons? Caffeine can be addictive. Most of the time people are using caffeine, it is because they are compensating for a lack of sleep, which obviously if your sleep isn't dialed in, if you're not getting enough sleep, nothing else in your body works right. The long-term effects of sleep deprivation, even a little bit, are well documented. Depending on the energy drink, if it's not some kind of low-calorie thing, there's a ton of calories. The ones with artificial sweeteners are using artificial sweeteners. Most of them have, they're not exactly created naturally. If we think of something like Monster or Reign or Bang, which I believe are the top 3 right now, and Red Bull, there's a lot of chemicals going on in there, and most of them aren't super good for you. Depending on who you are, some of those chemicals and artificial sweeteners can have an impact on your gut microbiome, the bacteria in your digestive tract, which is why I theorize I've got something going on with the headaches. There seems to be some correlation, and this, I think, Here's a tangent. I believe the reason we can't track down what's going on with migraines for people is because Stacy says many have propylene glycol, which is disastrous. There you go. I don't know about propylene glycol, but I believe you. I believe part of the reason we haven't identified what really causes migraines is because the root of it is in the intestines. There's I won't go into the science, but there's a strong tie between the brain and the gut. And I think that that's why my energy drinks impact my migraines. So if you suffer from migraines, work on microbiome health. So given the pros and cons, one would imagine, oh, Stacy says Google it's also the base of antifreeze. Ooh. I don't know if Gabe's drinking energy drinks. So here's the thing. I am not militant about anything, food-wise. The majority of the food I eat, I prepare from raw ingredients. If it had been a better summer, more of it would have come from my garden, but we had a dry summer, so I didn't get nearly as much as I wanted. But I try to stay healthy. Now, when I go out, I let my hair down, figuratively, a little bit. Not this past weekend, the weekend before. I ended up at Applebee's with a friend. What did I have? I had fried shrimp. You think the food that I had there was the best quality? It was like $14.99 for a plate of shrimp with, I don't remember what else. Oh, fries. Fries are cheap. I'm sure the oil the fries were fried in was low quality, and the shrimp was fried in there, and the breading on the shrimp, and I'm sure the shrimp themselves were not, the best quality shrimp, probably started frozen. It wasn't about the food. It was about the company. It was about the friend that I hadn't spent much time with lately. So it is because I prioritize eating well at home that I'm willing to do things like that. Frank says, where I work, many people in a rush to get to work skip breakfast and go straight for an energy drink or shot. And that's where this really becomes a problem, when it becomes habitual and when we start to see energy drinks or any really prepared food replacing something healthier. There are plenty of Huel makes one, Soylent is another, these claimed meal replacement, long-term meal replacement options. Oh, you don't need to actually eat food. You can just have 3 of these a day. Ugh. Take a look at the ingredients. Take a look at the quality of ingredients. All vitamin sources, mineral sources, food sources are not created equal. And in order to get the price down, most of these things are using the lowest caliber they can. So, where do energy drinks fit in? For me, it's once in a while. It's when I have a headache and I use it medically, or there are just days I'm like, you know what? One of those would be really good. For me, it's the Monster 0 calorie in the orange can, because they did away with the yellow can. The yellow can was really good. It was a lemon one that it was awesome, but I was the only one who bought it, apparently, so they discontinued it. But the orange is the second best, as far as I'm concerned. And now that I've been talking about them, I might have to go buy one, because that's how cravings work sometimes. Here's a good rule of thumb for anything in your diet. What if I didn't have it tomorrow? If that causes you anxiety, or if you would have withdrawals, and there were times where I was drinking too many energy drinks in my past, and I would have withdrawals, not anything really horrendous, but just like, more of an anxiety kind of thing. It's time to find a way out of that. Okay. Good question. And I invite you to leave questions. Drop them below. New products up at whistlekick.com. Check that out. We're running a friends and family sale. I'm only going to be promoting that on my personal Facebook page because it's meant to be friends and family. But most of you watching, I know personally, so you can go ahead. You can. What are we going to use for a code? It's going to be 30% off. We'll call it Friends 2020. Friends 2020. Next 48 hours. So we're doing this on Tuesday. So it'll go through. It'll expire before Thursday's show. So it'll be, Wednesday night, probably Wednesday at midnight, I'll end it. So if you want to get something, new program or whatever, you can do better than the First Cup 15 discount. You can double it. Friends 2020 for 30% off. I'm going to do that pretty much as soon as I'm done here. And that's it. Don't forget, we do the show every weekday, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate all of you who join live. I love the feedback, the comments, the things that come in as we go. It makes me feel like I'm not doing this in a bubble. It really means a lot to me to have some of you guys join live. So that's it. I'll see you back here tomorrow, bright and early. Take care. Peace.